Welcome to another episode of The Average Guy's Garage. Today we're going to be changing the front brakes on my 2005 Nissan Titan. So let's go ahead and get the lug nuts loosened and jack the truck up. Okay, now that we got the wheel off, I'm going to go ahead and show you what you're working with. Here's your rotor, caliper, and your caliper bracket. So what you have to do first is take off your caliper, and I'll show you the bolts behind there, but there's two. There's one right here and one down here. I'll put the camera back there to show you guys, but let's go ahead and do that, and then I'll show you the next step. Okay, so there's two bolts, one here, one down here. They're both 14mm bolts. You have to remove both of them in order to remove your caliper, so let's go ahead and do that and get on to the next step. Now that we removed the bolts, we're going to go ahead and take the caliper off. Sometimes it likes to put up a fight, but there you go. So this is your caliper, there's your two pistons, and then I go ahead and just place it up here out of the way, somewhere where it won't fall. And now you have left your old pads. And the hardware that's on the caliper bracket itself. Now when you buy pads, it'll come with all this. So now we'll go ahead and remove the caliper bracket in order to remove the rotor. Okay, to remove the caliper bracket, there's one bolt here and one right here. Now these are bigger bolts. I'm using a 13/16, which I think equates to like a 21mm. I don't have any millimeters that big, but a 13/16 does fit these. So let's go ahead and remove the caliper bracket. Now that we removed the caliper bracket, we're going to go ahead and slide the rotor on. And that comes off just like that. So then I'll go ahead and take my new rotors out of the package and spray them off with brake cleaner, because they come with like a oil on them, which you need to take off before you put them on the vehicle. And I'll be right back. Okay, so now I have my rotor all sprayed and cleaned. Put it back on. What I like to do is I put a lug nut on the bottom stud just to hold it on. But what I do suggest to you guys is, if you have another vehicle to take to the parts store, is before you buy your brake pads and rotors, take one side off, take the old ones with you, just so you can do a visual comparison at the store. Because a lot of times what will happen is you'll buy the parts, you'll get back home ready to do the job, only to find out that you have the wrong parts. So that's what I like to do, because it's happened to me plenty of times. But if you don't have the means, then go ahead and go to your auto parts store, buy them, and then you can always take them back if they're the wrong part. It's just a pain in the ass. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to place the caliper bracket back on. So before I put the caliper bracket on, I like to put blue Loctite. It's a medium Loctite on all my bolts. Just gives me a sense of security that they're not going to come out. But this one is also made for maintenance, so it isn't impossible to take off once you put it on. So all you do is you go ahead and get a little bit out of the tube, place it on the bottom thread, and I just rub it around until it gets into all the bottom threads, just like so. And then you go ahead and put it on. I just thought I'd share that little tip with you guys. Now that you have your caliper bracket on, you're going to go ahead and put your caliper hardware on, the one that came brand new with your brake pads. And it just snaps right on. I already put this one on. And then you go ahead and put your brake pads on. The brake pad with this little metal tab on it goes on the back side. And it goes just like that. So we'll go ahead and put these on and then move to the next step. Okay, now that you have your brake pads on, we're going to go ahead and compress the plungers on your caliper, or else it won't fit over your new brake pads. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how to do that really quick, but first we have to pop the hood. Okay, so once you have your hood open, you go to your brake fluid holder. And what I do is I get an old rag and I just kind of tuck it around here just to catch any that comes out. And you'll have to replace any that comes out too with new brake fluid as well. So now that we have that there, let's go ahead and compress the pistons. So now to compress the pistons, what I do is I use the old brake pad that came off it. Just put it in there over them like that. And the easiest way is to use a C-clamp. I just use a really big pair of channel locks. And you just go ahead and put them over just like so. Squeeze them together and the pistons will compress. Now let's go ahead and move on to the next step. Okay, so this is what they look like compressed all the way in. I ended up whistling out and using a C-clamp because it's a million times easier. And all you do to do that is the same way. Brake pad on there, C-clamp over it like so, and just tighten it and it'll compress it. So then all you do now is get them on, slide them right over. And now you put your bolts back on. I'm going to put Loctite on these ones too, and that'll pretty much wrap up the job. Okay, so there's the finished product. What I like to do is give it a little spray down with some brake cleaner after I finish, just make sure to get everything off. But I do suggest that you have your garage door open or you do this outside. Make sure you wear safety glasses when you do this too. And then just let that dry, put the tire on, and you're good to go. Just do the other side. So that about wraps it up. All that's left now is to put the wheel back on, and we're good to go. I timed myself on the other side. It took me about 10 minutes from start to finish, from taking the wheel off to finishing putting everything back together. So it actually doesn't take you that long, and it's not too hard. You can maybe do the whole truck in 2 hours for your first time. Other than that, the only advice I have for you is when you put your tires back on, lower the truck, start it, and pump your brakes, because you won't have any brakes for the first couple seconds that you apply the brakes. So you'll feel the pedal go all the way to the floor, and then it'll come back up, and it'll get harder as you go, and then you know that you have brakes again. But other than that, I hope you found this video informational. Please follow me on Facebook. I have an Instagram and a blog. It's all The Average Guy's Garage. That's all you have to search. And I put it in the description below. Thank you for watching. Share this video, give it a thumbs up, and I hope you have a great day.